Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, first of all, I want to apologize yesterday for coming out so late. My video coming out so late, and also, I'm gonna be honest, I felt off. I felt really off. I felt off because I felt kind of sick yesterday. I don't know what happened, but I felt it when I was doing my GH review, and yeah, I felt off, like literally off, and it's not just physically, I just felt off mentally. So if my review was not, you know, as good as it was, um, or as it has been, yeah, I apologize for that. But I noticed like after my GH review, I was like, yeah, there's something off. But I'm feeling a lot better now. So this episode, I'm gonna be honest, it started off slow. It started off so slow. And just seeing Johnny and Chanel in bed, just kissing and talking and just not really talking about anything, it got, let's put it this way, it got to a point where I decided to just watch the rest of the episode in bed. Because I was like, all right, well, you know what, listen, if they're not going to bother to try, what else should I? So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to sit my ass in bed and just watch it and review it from there, as far as taking notes and everything. So, yeah, it started off really slow. Again, again, is where it started to make up for it. Yeah, and where it got worth it. Paulina comes over to Chanel. I mean, Paulina comes over to Lonnie and Eli's place, and I, I don't understand how people actually put up with Lonnie. I really don't. I really don't understand how people put up with her. Like it's just as far as a character, how do people just sit there and be like, yep, I really love this Lonnie. She is so great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying she does not have, um, well, she doesn't have a reason to be upset and angry at Paulina, but my goodness, was she acting like another bitch. Up until the point where even Eli was like, hey, listen, we're just going to kind of just hang out and chill. But, we may do something like next week, or, yeah, she was like, why don't y'all come to like the dinners or whatever? It's like, oh, yeah, we'll think about it. And she leaves. And then, Lonnie's like, why'd you say that for? Because he was being nice. You remember nice, right? You remember what it's like to actually be nice to people and not act like a damn bitch 24/7? I just, mm, that woman, I'm not a fan of her. I'm not a fan of her, to be honest. I'll come to think about it. I'm like sitting there thinking, I was like, I'm not a fan of her. I'm not a fan. Well, who do I actually like in this show? Like, as far as women, I can't. I mean, I would sit there and say Ava, but she did something to Steve that, well, if a man would have did it, he would have been canceled, and he probably would have wound up killing off his character. Um, I mean, they all have their issues, I guess. So I'm just gonna actually have to sit there and think about that for a minute. Anyway, Eli's like, yo, listen, if you're not gonna do it for her, do it for your sister because your sister didn't really do anything, and she doesn't deserve that. And after literally sit there pumping in some logic into Lonnie's brain, she's like, yeah, you're right. So she decides to go. Now, Anna and Tony are talking to EJ, and EJ is like, yo, that woman's a gold digger. And she just seems like she's just going to be a problem. Remember Xander? I can't believe his name was Xander Cook. Like, Cook? Really? Um, talked about her history, which, was Xander and everything like that, being a gold digger. And, Anna and Tony just like, yo, why don't you give her a chance? Give your son a chance. Like, your son obviously loves this woman for whatever reason. Regardless if you agree, disagree, just, support him. But he is just not having it. He starts talking about the decorations and how they're tacky, this, that, and the third. And Paulina walks in and says, "I'm sorry, what you said? What do you say about what do you say about these decorations? They're festus or what?" I was looking at EJ. I was like, "No, no, EJ. Why don't you keep that same energy? Keep that same energy that you had before she walked into the room. I love that." He was like, "No, no, no. It's okay. It's fine." And she was like, "Yeah, okay." Um, Paulina, I don't know what to make of her character. I did like that though because most people, EJ can probably be kind of intimidating to most people, but Paulina's like, "Yo, I don't give a damn who he is. I don't care what his first, his middle, or his last name is. Um, she's not afraid." And I give her props for that. Um, she now finally gets out of bed, and Johnny does, and she gets ready. Allie's not there talking to Trip about going to the party, but Trip was like, "I don't know, because I may be on call," and then he was on call, and he couldn't make it. So Allie wanna go by herself. She meets up with Chanel. They hug. They walk in. Anna says some sort of like not a joke, but some sort of remark that was just extremely uncomfortable about those two being together and looking perfect together, this, that, and the third. I'm like, Anna, where are you going with this story? You know who Anna reminds me of a little bit, to some extent? Lucy. Like both women just have this thing about just saying something and just not knowing when to stop talking and just say something completely awkward. Everyone's just like, "What? Why did you say that for? What's wrong with you?" Um, Meanwhile, you got Marlena and you got Susan coming over there with holy water to throw it on Marlena, but realizes that after a while she's Marlena, and then they talk. And Marlena apologizes to, Susan for what she did. They talk about John. And then at some point, I think this happens around the same, I think it happened around the same time actually. Johnny's not there getting ready. And he realizes that like, something's off about him. He realizes that, it's, well, the devil. So he's looking at the mirror, and the mirror's not there talking back to him, talking about, "You want this power, you do, just stop fighting me, this, that, and the third." And Susan starts to throw up all over Marlena's nice boots or shoes, just right over it. So she's like, "I'm gonna call EJ," and she's like, "No, don't panic him." But she calls EJ and tells him that she's not gonna be available to the party and stuff like that. He's like, "Send my love or whatever." EJ is a very complex character. A very complex character, and I'm so glad that they actually brought him back because I'm pretty sure he was a great character back in the day with his faults and his highs and lows or whatever. Um, so I'm really glad that they actually brought him back. Because he seems like he has a lot of love and respect for his mother, a lot more now than before. EJ can be a very hateful, spiteful, vengeful person, but he's not an entirely total. He's not an entire monster in the fact that he is capable of love and he is capable of sadness. And I think that's what makes the character so great is that he has all this stuff in him. You know. So anyway, the party gets started, and everyone's not there giving a toast and stuff like that. Anna and I don't know if I don't remember if Anna or Tony gave their toast, but I do remember EJ was given the toast, and he surprised everybody. He surprised me. I thought he was gonna get on there and be like, "Yeah, this gold digger's gonna be going on about like a week or whatever. My son is stupid," or one of the things that he usually says. But he was surprisingly supportive. I mean, he was honest. He was like, I may not agree with what my son is doing, but I'm gonna love him and back him regardless because that's what fathers do. Um, and everyone was just like, Okay, I didn't see this coming." Hell, even Paulina for a minute was like, how am I actually gonna sit there and follow that up? And like I said, well, actually I didn't say. Paulina was sitting there trying to break the news to Chanel earlier about Lonnie not coming, but Lonnie showed up for her sister. Paulina gave a speech. Allie gave a speech, apologized again. So everyone's giving a speech. Now, when Johnny came to the room, he did this whole hat, face behind the doors, like, "Here's Johnny," and everyone was like, "What in the hell?" How even EJ was like, "What are you doing?" So he's joking and this, that, and the third. And at this point, we already know that he is fully possessed by, um, the devil. But then when he starts his toast, because she gives her toast and everything, like, Chanel gives her her toast or whatever, her speech. And then Johnny gives his speech, and man, he starts talking about Stefano and how great he was, even though people said he was evil, this, that, and the third. He was just going on and on and on. And it got to a point where a couple of people just kept looking like they just felt uncomfortable. I mean, Allie felt uncomfortable. But even after a while, Tony and Anna was like, okay. Um, and at one point, even EJ was like, "Where are you going with this? Like, this is what?" um, Johnny was like, "I was the favorite and not Allie, pretty much." And then he just kept going on and on and on with this weird and awkward and uncomfortable toast. But I loved every minute of it, mostly for the fact that it was so boring in the first 12 minutes that I was like, you know what? Why the hell am I actually sitting up for it? Let throw my ass in bed and just continue watching it. This was great. Actually, I was lying down watching it, and then when he started the speech, I was like, I gotta sit down for this one. This is good. Let me rewind this for a minute. And then he told everybody in the room after he was like, "I know what I wanted, and I don't want to be married to you anymore, Chanel." And everybody just had that look like, and the look on Chanel's face was absolutely priceless. And I'm not sitting here trying to relish in her pain. I mean, let's be honest, she's not exactly my favorite character, and she wasn't when she first started. Um, but the look on her face is like her whole world, everything that she thought she knew, just was gone. The ground beneath her feet was just gone. She was so devastated. And it was one of those things where it's like, well, damn, if you don't want to be married to her, you could have just told her in private. You didn't have to sit there and embarrass her in front of her family, her friends, your family, especially after EJ just gave that surprisingly generous toast. But that, that was probably the best part of this episode. And I gotta sit there and say, as far as shows go, this was probably the best, like, lately, this is probably like the best cliffhanger out of the three shows, B&B and GH, that they had in a while. And this is only the start, of this year. And if they keep it up like this, we're gonna be good. And it's weird too because in the beginning, like somewhere through like November, where I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna sit there and keep watching the show. But then I kept like, the problem is, as I was sitting there saying that, GH started to suck a lot. And Days was getting a lot better. And after a while, it was like, well, I mean, if I gotta sit there and let go a show, why the hell am I gonna sit there and let go of Days? When Days is actually beating GH. Um, but and granted, I get it. I know a lot of people don't like the possession storyline and the fact that they're continuing it, and I get it. I completely understand it. I mean, hell, even at one point I was like, bro, we still doing this? I thought we were done. Well, were you just gonna make a liar out of Deidre Hall? I mean, she literally just said that they were gonna be finished with this stuff by, you know, the end of the holidays. We're in January. What are y'all doing? But at the same time, I'm enjoying this tension and moments like that. It's like, you know what? Alright. Alright with the storyline. I mean, I don't think we should probably continue it for much longer. I don't think it should be a prolonged thing for like another, I don't know, 2 months. You know? I give it like maybe a month and a half. Maybe 2 months, give or take. Maybe 2 months. Or a month and a half. Whatever. But my point is, I don't want to go anything beyond that because at that point, now we are just running it into the ground, and even the great moments like that will not help it last. Um, I think that's about it. You know, honestly, tell you the truth, this week I'm probably sit there, or this weekend I'm probably sit there and think, well, who is my favorite woman on the show? Because I already got two guys on the show that I really like, which is EJ and Steve. But I can't really sit there and think of too many women that I actually like on this show. And my mind is sitting there thinking about maybe Nicole. Um, and granted, it's the thing. When I sat in last time, I was like, I like Ben. Ben is really cool. And then somebody was like, well, Ben is a serial killer. How could you like a serial killer? I was like, Jesus Christ, I'll just pick the character. Um, and not that I'm afraid to not pick another character after that, but it was like, well, I know Nicole has a history. Like not a good history. Um, but if I had to sit there and pick between her and Sammy, I'm probably gonna pick Nicole every single time because Sammy is just a lot. Like it's just a little too much. Um, anyway, with that being said, I think that's about it. If I forgot anything, please. I had to stop getting. I feel like I'm gonna have to just like not to find another outro. Because I keep saying if I forget anything, write it down in the comment section below. But I remember a subscriber was saying like, be confident in your work and be confident that you did a very good and accurate review. So I'm still learning. Um, there was a lot of people though, so I always feel like I forget something. But I guess that's where the whole confidence comes in. So anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Hope everyone has a great, amazing weekend. Can't see you. And I'll see you in the next video.